Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to what's happening around the NFL, especially in the NFC South, you know that the Atlanta Falcons are at a very interesting crossroads. The trade deadline is coming up, and there's a lot of buzz about what the Falcons might do, especially concerning their quarterback situation. Now, I know many of you are eager to hear what's really going on behind the scenes, especially regarding Kirk Cousins, a name that's been popping up quite a bit in recent discussions. And yes, the Falcons have been mentioned as a potential landing spot for Cousins, who, as you all know, signed a hefty 4-year, $180 million deal last offseason. It's a significant investment, and understandably, fans are wondering if the Falcons are going to stick with him or look to move him before the trade deadline. So let's break this down. Kirk Cousins, for those who might have missed some of the latest updates, has had a pretty tumultuous season so far. After signing that lucrative deal last year, he was expected to be the Falcons' franchise quarterback, the guy leading them to the playoffs and possibly beyond. But things haven't quite gone according to plan. Last season, he played in 14 games, completing nearly 67% of his passes for over 500 yards, with 18 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Those turnover numbers, especially the interceptions, are what really caught the attention of fans and analysts alike. It's precisely those turnovers that have raised questions about his ability to be the long-term answer, and more immediately, whether Atlanta might look to upgrade at that position. Interestingly, despite the fact that the Falcons have moved on from Cousins to Michael Penix Jr., they haven't shown much interest in trading him. Now you might be wondering, why keep a quarterback who's not even the starter? Well, it's all about the context. Cousins, even with his turnovers, is still a very capable quarterback. He's experienced, has a good football IQ, and can still play at a high level. Plus, in the NFL, situations change quickly. The Falcons might have confidence in Penix, but they also recognize that having a reliable backup with starting experience is valuable, especially during a season where injuries can happen at any moment. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There's been some chatter about potential trade scenarios. One of the most talked about options is Cousins heading to the Cincinnati Bengals. And this isn't just rumor mill stuff, it's coming from credible sources like Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated. He recently suggested that Atlanta should consider trading Cousins to Cincinnati in exchange for a conditional 5th-round pick. Now, at first glance, that might seem like a small return for a quarterback who's making so much money, but the reality is that the Bengals have been struggling mightily on offense. Since Joe Burrow went down with that serious toe injury, their offense has been far from the powerhouse it was expected to be. Jake Browning has been trying to step in, but let's be honest, he's been unable to elevate the offense enough to keep Cincinnati competitive. And this is where Cousins could come into the picture as a stopgap, a veteran presence that could help keep the Bengals afloat until Burrow returns to full health. It's not just a pipe dream. Teams are always looking for that veteran quarterback who can come in and stabilize the ship, especially when the season is slipping away from them. Cousins, with his experience and skill set, fits that mold. He might not be the perfect long-term solution, but in a pinch, he could be exactly what Cincinnati needs to hold on until their star quarterback is back. But it's not only Cincinnati who might be interested. The New York Giants are also in the mix, with some reports hinting that Russell Wilson could be a name to watch as well. The NFL landscape is always shifting, and teams are constantly evaluating their options. For the Falcons, it's a delicate balancing act. Do they keep Cousins, hoping he can turn things around and be a part of their future, or do they consider trading him for a draft pick and maybe finding a younger quarterback later on? Right now, the front office hasn't shown a rush to move him, but the clock is ticking, and as the trade deadline approaches, everything could change. Let's not forget, this isn't just about trading for the sake of trading. It's about strategic moves, about positioning the team for the best possible shot at success. The Falcons are in an interesting spot. They've got a talented roster, a solid defense, and an offense that's still trying to find its rhythm. Moving Cousins might free up some cap space or draft capital, but it also signals a commitment to Penix or perhaps another future option. Or maybe it's just a way to get some value for a player who, despite his talent, isn't fitting perfectly into the team's plans this season. This whole situation also brings us to the bigger picture of the Falcons' season. They've had some ups and downs, a few close games that could have gone either way. The NFC South, as always, is wide open, with new contenders emerging each week. The Saints, the Panthers, and even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are fighting for supremacy, making the division one of the most unpredictable in the league. For Atlanta, staying competitive is crucial, and sometimes that means making bold moves before the deadline. The organization has to weigh the value of Cousins, the potential of Penix, and what kind of impact a trade could have on their playoff hopes. And speaking of the team, let's talk about some of the key players and what they've been doing lately. Penix Jr., the young quarterback who's been given more responsibility recently, has shown glimpses of promise. He's got a strong arm and a good football IQ, and with more experience, he could develop into a reliable starter. But he's still young, still learning, and the Falcons are in a position where they don't want to rush things. The coaching staff is clearly trying to develop him at the right pace, but at the same time, they need to keep their options open, especially if Cousins remains on the roster but isn't getting enough time on the field. And that's the crux of it. The Falcons are walking a fine line between developing their young quarterback and making strategic moves to improve their chances this season. The trade deadline is a perfect opportunity for them to evaluate, negotiate, and potentially make a move that could reshape their future. Whether that's trading Cousins or holding onto him in hopes of a late-season turnaround, only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, the NFL world is watching Atlanta closely, because what they do in the coming weeks could have ripple effects not just for their season, but for the entire NFC South hierarchy. Now, I want to take a moment to emphasize how important this all is for you, the fans. The Falcons have a passionate fan base, and every decision made by the front office is scrutinized. We all want the best for the team, and we're eager to see how this chapter unfolds. Will Cousins stay and be part of the team's plans, or will he be traded to help the Falcons acquire more draft capital or perhaps a different veteran? It's a storyline that's developing right before our eyes, and I know many of you are eager to share your thoughts. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. As we approach that deadline, the rumors will only intensify, and the Falcons will have some tough decisions to make. Every move they consider will be aimed at putting this team in the best position to succeed, whether that means shaking up the QB room or sticking with what they have and trusting Penix's development. In the end, what's clear is that Atlanta is in a unique position. They have a talented roster, a solid foundation, and the chance to make some bold moves that could set them up for a deep playoff run. The question is whether they will pull the trigger on a trade involving Cousins, or whether they'll hold on to him as a backup and see how the season plays out. Regardless, this storyline isn't going away anytime soon, and I promise to keep you all updated as new information emerges. The NFL season is always unpredictable, and the Falcons are right in the thick of it, fighting for every inch of ground in what promises to be an exciting, tense, and ultimately pivotal stretch. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all this? Do you think the Falcons should trade Cousins before the deadline, or do you believe they should hold on to him? Maybe you see a different player or scenario as the key to their success. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back very soon with more updates, analysis, and all the latest Atlanta Falcons news. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting our team through thick and thin. This season is far from over, and with every game, every play, and every decision, we're all part of this incredible Falcons journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.